Torah guardian, speaking the absolute truth. Torah nation.
Shalom, shalom, Yasharal and Yahudah. Grafted in Gentiles into the body of Hamashiach. We bring the Most High Yahuwah praise. Yahuwah, in the name of Yahushua Hamashiach, my enemies desire to triumph over me, but Yahuwah don't let them. Yahuwah, listen, we're listening to Hezekiah, right? It's the Psalms 25. I don't know the rights to this music. Yahuwah, in the name of Yahushua Hamashiach, I thank you for your Ruach HaKodesh. I thank you for the witness of the Ruach HaKodesh. I thank you for the witness of the water and the blood. I give you praise. Yahuwah. Shavao. 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 Yahuwah, you told me to cry loud and to spare not, to lift up my voice like a trump in Zion. You told me to warn your people. You told me to warn your people that they need to receive the witness. They need to be born again. They need to receive the Ruach HaKodesh and the water. They must be established in the blood. Yahuwah. Take the reins of my lips and the reins of my tongue and reign. Yahuwah, cause me not to cause anyone to stumble. Let none be turned out of the way. Let none come up lame because of me. Yahuwah, I submit myself to you, Yahuwah. I lift my soul to you, Yahuwah. I trust your word. Yahuwah, I pray that your word would go forth and that it would not come back to you void. Yahuwah, all we have is the Basora and the Torah of truth. All we have is the Basora and the Torah of truth. Yahuwah, in the name of Yahushua Hamashiach, let the words of our mouth, the meditation of our heart be acceptable in thy sight, Yahuwah, our strength and our Redeemer. Yahuwah, I give you praise for Yahushua Hamashiach's witness. I give you praise for your word, your Basora, your Torah. Yahuwah, have your way in the name of Yahushua Hamashiach. In the name of Yahushua Hamashiach. Man of Yah, woman of Yah, listen, called to greatness. Woman of Yahuwah, beautifully and wonderfully made. Listen, Yahuwah has called me to cry loud, to spare not, to lift up my voice like a trump in Zion. Listen, I'm going to do this until Yahuwah tells me to do something else. I am going to keep the word of Yahuwah before you, and I am going to declare Yahuwah's Basora Torah as he's called me to do it. We are going in right now. We're in the second chapter of the Wisdom of Shlomo. The second chapter of the Wisdom of Solomon. That book that is a part of the Apocrypha, right? That the Catholic Church removed. It's Catholic indiscretions. It removed, right? This Torah is filled with the wisdom of the Ruach HaKodesh out of the mouth of Shlomo. Right? And as we have looked at Shlomo, we understand, right, that he had positioned his heart before Yahuwah, who upon recognizing the sacrifices that Shlomo made with the bulls after having been established as the king over Yasharal, Yahuwah set his approval on Shlomo. And in so doing, he gave Shlomo that which he asked for, right? Now, Shlomo was anointed king by Yahudah, right? Yahudah had chosen Shlomo to be the king. And he asked Shlomo, what is it that you would have me give you? Right? Let's go there. Let's go there. What is it that you would have that I would do unto you? Right? Right? Shlomo said unto Yahudah in 2 Chronicles 1:8, thou hast shown great mercy unto David, my father, your servant, your king, right? And has made me to reign. You've anointed me to reign in his stead, right? O Yahuwah, Alua, let thy promises unto David, the things that you said that you would do to David, right, be established. Let it be established. Let it be established. Let the kingdom not depart from Yahudah. Let me build the temple that you had promised my father you would allow me to do. Yahuwah, let the promises that you made to my father David be forever established, right? Under my kingdom, under my reign. And he says, for thou hast made me king over a people like the dust of the earth in multitude. Yahuwah, the nation is great. The nation is great. Establish me as your king. The nation is great. Give me now the Ruach HaKodesh of wisdom. Right? He was king. You anointed him. Yahuwah said, what do you want that I can give to you? I want your Ruach of wisdom. I want your Ruach HaKodesh of knowledge. I want your Ruach of wisdom and knowledge, right? That I may go out from amongst these people and that I may come in before these people with the Ruach of wisdom and the Ruach of knowledge at work in me at all times. Right now, again, with the Ruach in us comes our participation. We got to participate. We got to participate. Yahuwah gave Shlomo wisdom, but Shlomo still had to do what all kings in Yasharah were required to do. Keep the Torah before them day and night. Meditate on the Torah. And as long as you do this, the Ruach would lead you and guide you. The Ruach, in David's case, the Ruach of wisdom and the Ruach of might, the Ruach of counsel, they would rule over his kingdom. Right? Shlomo needed the same Ruach, but he wanted the wisdom and the knowledge to be able to lead the people, to go out before them, representing them with the wisdom of Yahuwah. He wasn't asking for wisdom, not worldly, earthly wisdom. That brought him vanity and vexations. That led to vanity and vexations in him. Listen, Shlomo wanted wisdom, right? And he says, give me now wisdom and knowledge that I might go out and come in before this people. For who can judge? Who could bring justice? Who can judge? Who can bring justice to this great people of thine, or this people of thine that is great? Who can do it? Except by the wisdom, the Ruach HaKodesh of wisdom and the Ruach HaKodesh of knowledge. Listen, Yahudah gave anointing to his kings. He gave anointings to the leadership of the nation. The leadership of the nation had Yahuwah's Ruach. And like we have his Ruach HaKodesh today, we still have to do the things that Yahudah requires. We got to meditate in his Torah day, and we got to meditate in his Torah night. We've got to fast. We've got to pray. We got to sing songs, spiritual songs, making melody in our hearts. Dawid showed us how that is to be done from a place of repentance. Wisdom, Shlomo, wisdom. Yahudah said unto Shlomo, because this was in thine heart, right? Because your heart is right. Your heart is right. Your heart is to serve the people. Your heart is to do what is right before me. Because your heart is right, it is righteous. I know your heart is righteous is because you provided an offering, a sacrifice that has came up before me as a sweet-smelling savor. And because of this, I appeared to you by night, and I asked you what it is you wanted because you're right before me. Your heart was right. And your heart was to do the will of Yahudah, to serve the people of Yahudah. So because this was in thine heart, and you haven't asked me for riches. You didn't ask me for all the silver and the gold. You didn't ask me for honor and to be lifted up amongst the people and of the nations. You didn't ask me that. You didn't ask me for none of that. You didn't even ask me for the lives of your enemies. You didn't ask me for that. But you asked me for the Ruach of wisdom. You asked me for my wisdom. The Ruach HaKodesh of wisdom. You asked me for my wisdom. You asked me for my knowledge. So that you can serve my people. That thou mayest judge my people over whom I've made you the king. Right? He said, listen, the Ruach of wisdom and the Ruach of knowledge is yours. It's granted unto you. Right? It's yours. All you got to do is remain, continue, and dwell in me. How do I do that? If ye abide in me, and my word abide in you. In the Ruach HaKodesh, you can ask whatever you will, and it will be done for you. In this witness, we have personal responsibility. It is everything we need to get the job done, but we got to meditate in this word day and night. We got to keep it before us. Yahushua was the word made flesh, and he understood what was necessary in order to get the job done. He had to fast, he had to pray. He was the word made flesh, so he didn't need to break the word open and read it. He was the Torah. But in his flesh, he had to bring it under the subjection of the Ruach HaKodesh. His mind had to be brought under the dominion of the Ruach HaKodesh. And he did what was necessary in preparing himself, keeping Yahuwah's Torah before him day and night. That was the king's responsibility. To meditate in thy law day and night. You will find good success if you meditate in my word, if you love my word, if you keep my word before you, right? You will be established. He says, wisdom is granted unto thee, and I will give thee riches and wealth and honor such as no kings have ever had before thee, neither shall there afterwards be like unto thee. All because you presented a heart that was righteous before me, excuse me, and you asked for that which was to the benefit of the nation, my people, as I had appointed you as a king. See, listen. See, the Ruach HaKodesh in you is a loving Ruach. The Ruach HaKodesh in you is a loving Ruach. The Ruach HaKodesh is not going to cause you to, it's not going to drive you to pursue something that's self-oriented. The Ruach HaKodesh ain't going to drive you into self-ambition, right? The Ruach HaKodesh ain't going to drive you into a direction that exalts your flesh, right? It's the Ruach HaKodesh of love, right? It's the Ruach HaKodesh of discernment, of discipline, right? And in the Ruach HaKodesh, you are going to be established in this love. Yahushua said, if you love me, you'll keep my commandments. Yahushua knew that they would love him and keep his commandments upon receiving the Ruach HaKodesh. Yahushua knew this. When he even said, if you love me, you keep my commandments, he knew they weren't in that place. He knew that they had to receive the promise. He knew that they would receive the Ruach HaKodesh. He knew that from their bellies would flow rivers of living water. After that, the Ruach HaKodesh comes upon them, but they had not received the Ruach HaKodesh yet because Yahushua had not been glorified. Listen, you got to understand that the Ruach HaKodesh is given. It's in the arets now. Right now, we believe, Yahuwah has spoken to me Shabbat 3 times. Shabbat, Shabbat, Shabbat. A fresh anointing. A fresh anointing of the Ruach HaKodesh. A fresh anointing of the Ruach HaKodesh of those who receive the message of the witness, right? That are quickened, made alive by the Ruach HaKodesh. They're going to receive and experience a fresh demonstration of the power of the Ruach HaKodesh in them because they received the witness. Because they had a heart of love, the Ruach of love in their heart. They're doing it for the nation. They're doing it for those that are the grafted in of the other nations. They're doing it because Yahuwah has put it in their hearts to do it, and they know that signs must follow. And they're going to be examples of it, living examples of what Pentecost looked like. The Ruach of wisdom. So, the wisdom of Solomon's reference point has everything to do with him having received the Ruach HaKodesh of wisdom and knowledge. He had the Ruach HaKodesh, but specifically the Ruach of wisdom and knowledge. Ruach of wisdom and knowledge. Right? Yahuwah gave it to him. Yahuwah gave it to him. He said, wisdom and knowledge is granted. Somebody said, well, he didn't say the Ruach HaKodesh of wisdom. Look, knucklehead. It was Yahudah that gave it. It was Yahudah that gave it. If Yahudah gave him an anointing, right, of wisdom and knowledge, it was the Ruach HaKodesh of wisdom and knowledge. It was a part of the sevenfold Ruachs, specifically wisdom and knowledge, because Solomon specifically asked for wisdom and knowledge. David wanted to conquer his enemies. David was more interested in might and subduing the nations around him to bring the nation of Israel to a place of freedom and prosperity. He was a soldier. He needed the Ruach of might. Let's go into the wisdom of Shalom. The second chapter. Now, the first chapter, right, we talk about the benefits that are given to those who are possessors of the Ruach of wisdom, right, who have received Yahuwah's Ruach of wisdom, right. Shlomo expresses that in that first chapter. He says, love righteousness, ye that judge the Eretz. That was self-fulfilling. Love righteousness. He loved doing Torah. He loved the byproduct of Torah, which is righteousness. And if you love keeping Torah and what Torah gives you as a byproduct, righteousness, then you will have the capacity to judge. See, and he understands that because, he asked you to give him to him now wisdom, that he may go out and come in before his people. And Yahuwah gave it to him, the Ruach of wisdom, right? Because Yahuwah had established him as righteous. Yahuwah's not going to give his Ruach to an unrighteous man. Shlomo, at the time that he asked Yahuwah was for wisdom, he was righteous. Now, because he didn't keep the Torah before him day and night, as the king was supposed to, right, he fell off. And once he sinned, right, he walked out of fellowship with the Ruach HaKodesh. The Ruach HaKodesh flees him. He says, think on Yahuwah with a good heart, right? A righteous, repentant heart, right? And in simplicity of heart, seek him. Seek him. Seek who? Yahuwah. For he will be found of them that tempt him not. So, you living righteously, you're not provoking Yahuwah through temptation to sin, and sinning causing Yahuwah to want Yahuwah's Torah to bring judgment to you. That's tempting Yahuwah. That's what he means, right? For he will be found of them that tempt him not, that provoke him not to anger. What provokes Yahuwah to anger, right? What puts Yahuwah in a position, right, to where you won't find him? Sin separates from Yahuwah. So sin, which separates from Yahuwah, puts you in a place where Yahuwah will not find you. Right? He says, and shows himself unto such that do not trust him, and shows himself unto such as do not trust him. So Yahuwah, right? He gonna show his self to those who have emunah. He ain't gonna show himself to those who don't have emunah, who don't trust him. Shlomo was talking about Yahuwah's Ruach of wisdom, right? That's what Shlomo wanted. Everything that Shlomo wanted, Ruach of wisdom and Ruach of knowledge, is articulated, right, in these chapters, right? What the byproduct is of one who receives the wisdom of Yahuwah, the knowledge of Yahuwah, the Ruach HaKodesh of wisdom, and the Ruach HaKodesh of knowledge of Yahuwah. This is what this looks like. Now, in chapter 2, we get the opposite. of what it looks like, right? To those who don't have the wisdom of Yahudah, that don't have the Ruach of wisdom and understanding, who do not have the Ruach of Yahudah. Right? He says, listen. Or of those who the Ruach of wisdom has fleed. Let's see. Let me get to that one real quick too. He says in verse 4, he says, for into a malicious soul the Ruach of wisdom shall not enter. Right? The Ruach of Yahuwah's wisdom is not going to enter into someone who is malicious, who has malice and anger and hatred, right? Yahuwah's wisdom is never going to enter them. Now they can devise a natural, carnal, sensual wisdom, but the Ruach of Yahuwah's wisdom, no, they ain't gonna come close to that, right? Nor dwell in the body that is subject unto sin. So the Ruach HaKodesh of wisdom is not going to occupy, it is not going to dwell, it's not going to continue, it's not going to remain in a body that sins, that is subject unto sin, that makes itself a slave to sin, that goes from being righteous and goes back to unrighteousness and wickedness. Listen, verse 5. The Ruach HaKodesh of discipline, which is the Ruach HaKodesh of wisdom, which is the Ruach HaKodesh of knowledge, it is the Ruach HaKodesh. He says the Ruach HaKodesh of discipline will flee deceit. The Ruach HaKodesh of wisdom has no desire to keep company with deceit. The Ruach HaKodesh has no desire to share a temple with someone who wants to engage in deceitfulness. The Ruach HaKodesh does not want to keep company with those who operate in sin. Listen. That's why, you better not get to believing that you once saved, you always saved. Yahuwah will always bring you back by the Ruach HaKodesh. No, that's a lie. That's a lie. Listen, you got to participate. You got to remain, continue, and dwell. You got to endure to the end. Yes, there is no one that'll get away from Yahuwah, that'll get out of his hands, that will be taken out of his hands. Right? No. You going to willfully do what you do out of his hands. He is going to always keep those who are in a position to do, that is positioned themselves in this witness to obey, to continue to dwell in him. Right? But if that ain't your motivation, and listen, I know people who have. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. So look, I'm telling you, you better get a clue. So he says, the Ruach HaKodesh discipline will flee deceit and will remove from the thoughts that are without understanding. He's not sharing wisdom with deceitful folk. The Ruach HaKodesh is going to remove himself. He's going to remove himself from the thoughts. The Ruach HaKodesh is not going to guide you in your sinful state. You better pray that somebody is interceding for you, man, because listen, because once you get off into that, if Yahuwah by his grace bring you back, whew, better consider Dawid. And Dawid spent his whole rest of his life under the consequences of that sin. But David's heart was repentant sincerely. And he stayed before Yahuwah sincerely. Okay. He says, and will not abide in unrighteousness will not abide when unrighteousness comes in. So the Ruach HaKodesh of wisdom don't want no parts of unrighteousness, because it's the Ruach of Yahudah. It's the Ruach of Yahusha. It's the Ruach HaKodesh. Right? The Ruach HaKodesh brings all things to your remembrance, whatsoever he has said. That is the Busor and Torah. The Ruach HaKodesh is going to reveal everything that is necessary to bring about the truth of this witness to those who have an ear to hear. And he's going to use you to do it if you submit to the Ruach. If you remain, continue, and dwell. If you choose not to and walk away, guess what? Oops, oh, he's gone. He's ghost. He's gone. He's gone. Okay, so, second chapter. Now, we're talking about those who do not have the Ruach HaKodesh of wisdom. Those who don't have the Ruach HaKodesh of knowledge. Right. These people are ungodly. See, because there's only two kinds of people. There's the ungodly and the godly. Excuse me. Only two kinds of people. There's the hot ones and the cold ones. There is no lukewarm place, because the lukewarm is going to get spewed out with the cold. Or the hot, whichever one is the one destined for the burning, right? He said, listen, for the ungodly said, this is the conversation that the ungodly says. This is not the conversation of the righteous man of Yahuwah, woman of Yahuwah that has Yahuwah's Ruach HaKodesh, that operates in the Ruach of wisdom and knowledge and understanding, the Ruach of Yahuwah, the Ruach of wisdom and understanding, the Ruach of counsel, the Ruach of might, the Ruach of knowledge, and the fear of Ruach of the fear of Yahuwah. This is not them. Not them that have these Ruachs. The Ruach HaKodesh of truth. Right. They don't understand this. And the Ruach HaKodesh, quite frankly, don't want nothing to do with them. Yeah, he fleeing them. He ain't taking a residency in them. And if he's in residency with them and they want to go off into sin, guess what? They have become the dearly departed. The Ruach has dearly departed himself from them, right? So, for the ungodly said, reasoning with themselves, engaging in this self-talk. Hasatan is the champion of self-talk. Hasatan is the champion. His demons, his emissaries are the champions in promoting self-talk. The Hasatan will have you talking to yourself concerning a situation and convincing you in your self-talk that what he is proposing is best for you. Yeah, Hasatan. Yeah. He gonna self-talk you till you blue in the face. And in the Ruach HaKodesh is going to warn you now that, no, don't do that. Rebuke that. Don't receive that. Cast that down. That's a vain imagination. Don't let that come. No, pump the brakes on that. No, don't receive that. Pump the brakes on that. Because the Ruach HaKodesh is the Ruach HaKodesh of truth. He just ain't going to sit by idly and let you be influenced without giving you a word. Because that's his job, right? He's going to give you word. He ain't gonna step in and do anything until you position up. Until you establish and assume your position in this witness and move forward in the Torah of truth, and the Ruach HaKodesh's power will come forth. Yeah, but the Ruach HaKodesh in you ain't just going to override you Gonna override your mind. Look, the Ruach HaKodesh didn't override Yahushua's. Yahushua was in the Garden of Gethsemane. And in Yahushua's mind, he was like, look, there's another way. Let this cup pass from me. 3 times he prayed. Ruach HaKodesh finally came in and comforted him. Yahushua, you say, nevertheless, not my will, but thy will be done. Right? Right. Because the pressure of knowing that he was going to go through what he was going to go through, right? That flesh, right? That pressure, right? He didn't want to do it, but he did it because he was obedient unto what his father had requested of him. He loved Yahudah. He loved the people of Yahudah. Even those that hated him, he loved them, right? He gave his life for the nation. Stiff-necked rebels, right? Right? Gave his life. Became the high priest forever after the order of Melchizedek as sworn by none other than his father, Yahudah, right? He replaced Aaron's priesthood with a far superior righteous one, infallible, right? Because he never sinned. Right, and he went into the Shamaims of holies after being raised from the dead by the power of Yahuwah's Ruach. And then he went in with his own blood, right? Because he was a lamb. Yahudah said, behold the Lamb of Yahudah to take away the sins of the world. He went into Shamaim with his own blood. Died for you and me. Righteousness, right? You have to understand the price that was purchased for this Yeshua, right? That made available to you the Ruach HaKodesh, right? That the ungodly have no concept of. They have no concept of it. Now the ungodly knows its satanic rights. And it knows its power that is given to it by Hasatan, which is limited. It's limited power. It's limited power. Hasatan's power is limited. Right? Hasatan's power is limited. But the supernatural power of Yahudah in us, yeah, that will cause us to tread upon serpents and scorpions. And none of the power of the enemies can overcome us if we abide, remain, continue, and dwell in this witness. The ungodly aren't so. They're the chaffs. Okay, let's go. For the ungodly is said, reasoning. Self-talk. Listening to Hasatan's lies. But not right. They're reasoning, but they're not right. Their reasoning is not based on righteousness. Their reasoning is not based on the righteousness that is a result of the Ruach's influence. See, and Yasharal Yahudah, we who have been awakened, we who have been quickened and have received this Ruach HaKodesh, listen, we got to cherish this gift. We got to cherish this gift. We got to cherish this what Yahuwah has made available for us. We have to. We can't take this lightly. We can't do anything by this. We got to do what is right before Yahuwah in this Ruach. We got to do what is right. We got to do what is right. Yahuwah ain't going to twist your hand. You can receive the Ruach HaKodesh speaking in tongues, right? And then all of a sudden decide to go off into sin. Ruach HaKodesh is gone. Because Yahuwah warned you. Yahuwah has warned you. This event of turning away, right, from Yahuwah's witness, right? You was warned. The Ruach HaKodesh warned you. Yahuwah sent people to warn you. But you didn't want to hear it. You wanted to go back to your sin. You wanted to go back to your mess. You wanted to go back to your fornication. You wanted to go back to your adultery. You wanted to go back to that. He says, this is what the ungodly says, right? He says, our life is short and tedious. See, the ungodly has no hope of eternal life. The ungodly has no understanding of the fullness of life that comes with a devotion to Yahuwah and his word, keeping Torah, right? Enduring hardships, because this life is not all there is. We have an eternal inheritance. See, but the ungodly can't understand it. They can't understand it. To them, life is short and tedious, right? See, to me, life is even more so now, even since I've received Yahushua's quickening. I mean, even since I have been awakened and now quickened to who I am, right? And what that means in Yahushua Mashiach, right? Right? I recognize that what my ancestors went through had everything to do with them. You know, we failed to fulfill Yahuwah's covenant. And because of this, the curses was passed on to us. You know, I mean, the Jews themselves that Yahushua's sentencing said with a proud voice, let the consequences be upon us and our children, right? Literally, put us in a place where we were in violation of Torah. So yeah, it's tedious because, you know, that's consequences to Torah. Violation of Torah. Let's do this. Deuteronomy, 28th chapter. Right? Deuteronomy 20th chapter says, and it shall come to pass, the first verse, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of Yahuwah, thy Elohim, and observe to do all his commandments, that I command thee this day, that Yahuwah will set thee on high above all the nations of the earth. So, if we're set on high above all the nations of the earth, there's nothing tedious about our position. Because the other nations become subject to us, right? And, you know, and being subject to us ain't a bad thing if we are under Yahuwah's Torah, because Yahuwah is going to require that we treat you, other nations, as he would expect us to be treating our own brothers and sisters if you keep Torah, right? So he says, and all these blessings shall come upon thee and overtake thee if you hearken unto the voice of Yahuwah thy Elohim. He said, you'll be blessed in the city. You'll be blessed in the field. There's nothing tedious about being blessed in the city and blessed in the field. You watch these shows like the lifestyles of the rich and famous, you know. Me and my wife, we watch these YouTubes about this one guy who shows you all these houses, these 42, 52, $100 million houses. Just go through them, you know, and all of the conveniences that are in there. You know, if you have the money to live in there and live lavishly, there's nothing tedious about that, right? There's nothing tedious about that. If Yahuwah says that we be blessed in the city and blessed in the field, there's nothing tedious about that. See, we understand in their system, right, that their wickedness in wealth and how they accumulate wealth, right? Because the ungodly takes from everybody, right? They take from everybody, right? Capitalism is based on the taking from someone. Listen, these European nations, every continent they landed on, they've stolen, they've taken from the people. They took from us in the continents. They took us from the continent, right? You know, they took from us in Spain, in Portugal, right? And they shipped us in and put us in penal colonies, right? In Africa. And then you got Belgium. What's his name? Leopold, right? The Belgian. came in and just massacred our people, cutting off arms and limbs because we couldn't produce enough rubber. Taking over, right? You got Britain going down into South Africa, running all the Bantu nations out of their own country. Not giving him a dime, just taking it. United States did it to Hawaii. Hawaii was a sovereign nation. And then the Americans came over to Hawaii and took it. The ungodly, that's what they do. They do. They take it, right? They take from other nations. You know? They take from other nations. Listen. That's why they getting paid back. You know, Yahudah is letting them know they're getting paid back, right? You know, with these floods, right? And these earthquakes, these devastating natural disasters. They're trying to say that these natural disasters are a result of the earth melting. No. What it is Yahuwah's judgment, because you've done the people of Yahuwah wrong and you've done other nations wrong. And you who were privy, you who parlayed, you who participated in what has become the slave trade of the children of Yahudah, listen, and the children of Yasharal, listen, this is your payback. It's your payback. It's your payback. It's going to be payback here in the United States. It's payback. Listen, it's payback. Yahuwah is paying these nations back. He's flooding China. He's flooding India. All of these nations. These nations are catching it. Oh, they haven't seen disasters like this in 100 years. Was it Colorado? Yellowstone? Flooding? Devastation? Ain't seen nothing like that in years. You wait till that geyser go to blowing. But see, Yahuwah knows how to keep his own from the day of vengeance. Right? But see, the ungodly, they ain't like that, right? He said, listen, blessed be the fruit of thy body, the fruit of thy ground, the fruit of thy cattle, the increase of thy kind, the flocks of thy sheep. Listen, there's nothing in that makes make it seem like it's arduous or tedious, right? Right? Yes, there's natural work in what you do, but the benefits is the harvest. The benefits is the increase. And in the increase, there's joy, because Yahuwah is glorified, because you keep Yahuwah's Torah, because you walk in his statutes. And now listen, in this witness, you've received the Ruach HaKodesh, and Yahuwah is giving you everything you need to get the job done, but you got to get the job done. He didn't give you everything you need to get the job done for him to do the job. He did what was necessary to bring you to a place where you can do the job. He said, listen, I'm going to pour clean water on you. I'm going to put my Ruach HaKodesh in you. And it's going to cause you to keep my laws and my statutes and my commandments and my judgments. There's no tediousness about this. He says, blessed shall be thy baskets and thy stores. Listen, you're going to have plenty. There's no cupboards running out. There's no, listen. That's another thing too. Thank you, Ruach HaKodesh. Listen. We don't worry, right, about shelves being empty. I know the story. There's a story of a prophet of a widow woman who had enough meal for just her and her son. And the prophet said, give it to me. She gave it to him. Her oil never ran out. Her meal never ended until after the drought. Listen, you don't know how to keep his people. He's prepared a place for us. Thou preparest a table in the presence of mine enemies. Your people running around trying to figure out how they going to eat. But you know what? He prepares a table before you in the presence of your enemies. You taken care of, right? Right? You done came in and you done closed the door and you done wait until the end of the day to pass. You ain't worried about nothing because you was taking care of you. And you ain't worried about nobody coming and busting in on you, right? You ain't worried about that. Yahuwah's got his angels, right? And, you know, if you get past the angels, guess what? You gonna meet House of John. Coming in my house. You gonna meet House of John, right? Yeah. Because the homie don't play. You ain't busting down my doors. No. But Yahuwah has that taken care of already. Why? Because we have his Ruach. He's prepared a table before us in the presence of our enemies. Listen, he's got a prepared place for us. Like, listen, when they start dropping bombs on this, and they're going to drop bombs, you know, do you think these other nations, listen, you know, understand something too? I'm going to tell you something. These nations know who we are. Yeah, you know that nation that we're odds with right now? That the whole EU is at odds with right now? That nation, right? That nation knows who we are. They know who we are. Yeah. That's why that nation is respected on the continent. You know, yeah, we didn't jump into the bed with the EU and everybody else. EEU or whatever it is. United Nations. We ain't get into that like that. No, we ain't jumping in that swimming pool just because y'all in that swimming pool. Understand something. Yahuwah has somebody that's going to see to it. He's got carpenters. He's got carpenters. He's got somebody that's going to flee away, drive away. Those that think they're going to destroy the people of you. Listen, that's why. So I'm telling you, you better receive Yahuwah's witness. You better have his Ruach HaKodesh, because listen, if you don't, you ain't kept. You ain't protected. These people were, our forefathers were blessed because they offered sacrifices. The priests were in a position. They weren't, at the time that they were doing it, they were at the position they needed to be in the Most High, and Yahuwah honored their sacrifices. That's why he allowed them to continue, right? He did not, he didn't not honor their sacrifices, which covered sin. He did not honor, he stopped honoring them when the priests became wicked, and when the people didn't want to listen, and when the king was wicked, right? Then y'all y'all gotta go back. Y'all gotta turn. You gotta correct, right? And then you gotta come to me with a sacrifice. Well, you should done that for us who have received the witness. But if you ain't received the witness of Yahushua Mashiach, then you know. So he says, listen. He says, blessed shall be thou when thou comest in, and blessed shall thou be when thou goest out. You're going to be blessed, right? And Yahuwah shall cause thine enemies to rise up against thee, to be smitten before thy face. Listen, we in the witness of Yahushua. We are his people. We are the sheep of his pasture. We belong to Yahuwah. One will put 1,000 to flight, two will put 10,000 to flight. Listen, our enemies that's going to come up against us one way, it's going to flee before us seven ways. See, listen. See, it's an end game process now, right? Right? This is the end game. You ain't going to tolerate that no more. See, because we done turned. We who have received the witness of Yahushua Mashiach, the Shavuot, who have received this fresh anointing from the Ruach HaKodesh. Listen, let me tell you something. You ain't going to tolerate that. No. My people been through enough with you, these other nations. That's what I'm showing you. Yeah. That's what I'm showing them. Showing them what it's going to cost them. Went down into Australia and wiped out the whole Aborigines. Just wiped them out. Just took what they had. Right? Took what they were, gunned them down, killed them like dogs. Come on, man. Took over Hawaii, a sovereign continent. Kings and people that were visiting other continents. The United States just came in and did a coup. Just to get over, put the people out. And they wanted it because it was a strategic battle location. Yeah, they wanted it because it was strategic. You know, it was a port where they can use and access. Listen, you know what the sad part is? You know, them people in Hawaii, right? When it hit the fan, guess what's that port of entry, that military base. Look, I don't want to be there. Listen, I don't want to be in the United States, period. And if you would say the same, I want to be Bob. If he doesn't, and I'm here, guess what? He's got a place to cover me. I'm covered. I ain't worried about no cupboards. I ain't worried about no food running out. I ain't worried about no. Listen, if it just means that I gotta fast more during that time, I fast more. I'll do what you would tell me to do. Listen, that's what righteousness is. See, again, it's the opposite of the ungodly. The ungodly. See, he said. So he says, I should cause our enemies to rise up against thee, be smitten before thy face. They're gonna be smitten before our face. They should come out against thee one way and flee before thee seven ways. They running. Yahudah shall command blessings upon thee in thy storehouse and everything that thou settest thy hands unto do. Listen, if you notice lately, especially on the continent, everything that these young men and women are setting their hands to do, they're bringing to pass. Right? Now, granted, true repentance and being established in the witness, right, seals this. But you know, you can see the turning, the tide. You see the turning of the tide. You see it. You can see it, right? Even when I watch it, man. See, I don't watch a lot of. I watch some WION news, and I watch Al Jazeera's news. I don't watch that local stuff because that local stuff is designed to get you to think a certain thing and way, right? But see, you know, these other countries, they don't necessarily care about America, so they go show her dirty laundry. Listen, they gonna show her dirty laundry, man. Right? They gonna show you what you don't see. Right? Yeah. Because you know you still think America's great. America's great. Listen, America is set up to fall. Right? Economy fall. Right? Anarchy fall. Right? What our what is it called? It's risen 8%. They talking about a depression, a Great Depression, a depression that is unlike any that has come before her in an estimated 12 to 16 months. They talking that America is suffering because of Putin. Talking about Putin's economy and how bad it is. That Putin's struggling. But everybody's GDP and everybody else's GDP, everybody in the European Union, in the United States, right? All these other countries that is in bed with, right? Yeah. They suffering, right? America is an exporter. I mean, America, excuse me, she's an importer. She ain't an exporter anymore. She buys all her goods. How you gonna buy all your goods and survive as a nation? Because what happens when your buying gets cut off and you can't buy anymore, right? And you've just sabotaged your own future. Look, this ain't even rocket science, man. This don't even require a high level education. How you can't just print money. You can't just print money just because you got a printer and say we got money. You can't throw money into an economy just because you got the capacity to print more. Make people believe, oh, we doing well. Everybody's doing well. We giving out money. You giving money. Giving stimuluses, giving out all this money, right? Money's got to be way to get something. Just can't. It's a note. It's paper. It's a note. Okay. So he says, and Yahudah will command blessings upon thee in thy storehouse and everything that you set thy hands to do. And he shall bless you in the land which Yahudah thy Elohim giveth thee. Now listen. Our land is the continent of Africa. It is. There's no Middle East it's the land of Africa. Right? The continent. Right? Our Jerusalem is our Mount Zion is not some dinky hill. It is the tallest peak. This is the mount. Our people. Our land. It's going to be restored. These nations have taken it and divided it up amongst themselves. But that's coming to an end. It's coming to an end. He says, and Yahudah shall establish thee a Kodesh. He's going to sanctify his name in you amongst the heathen. He is going to sanctify you because your heart is pure, because you've received Yahushua's blood, and you have received his Ruach HaKodesh. You've been born again. You now are his holy Kodesh ones. You are the righteous selected from the plant of righteousness, according to Enoch. Listen. You are Kodesh people if you're in this witness. You're a holy, set-apart people if you're in this witness. If you're in this witness, you're a holy, Kodesh, set-apart people unto Yahudah Elohim. You are his. You belong to him. He is yours. He says, as I have sworn unto thee, if thou shalt keep my commandments and walk in them. So, all of this is going to happen if you keep his commandments. But, the opposite is going to happen. We know what the curses are. Right? We know what the curses are. And according to the wisdom of Solomon, the ungodly, right, life is short and tedious. Right? Short and tedious. Deuteronomy 28:15, and it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of Elohim thy Elohim, if thou shalt become un-Elohim-like, If you replace Yahuahness with a return to wickedness, right, you become ungodly. Or if you never receive the witness of Yahushua Mashiach, become ungodly. You're ungodly. Then you're done. But listen, he's speaking about somebody who's received this relationship with Yahuwah and turn away. It's the consequences. Let's see now, in this witness of Yahushua Mashiach, right? Right? You receive the witness of Yahushua Mashiach and you turn away. Yahushua Mashiach was the end game. That was it. That was it. See, our forefathers, they could find a way back if they just came to Yahuwah. But see, Yahuwah put it all on the line. He established his dominion once and for all. He put his Ruach HaKodesh in the earth. If you blaspheme the Ruach HaKodesh, you're done. If you walk away from the Ruach HaKodesh and the influence of the Ruach HaKodesh in your life and bring Yahushua HaMashiach to an open shame, listen, you done. You ain't nothing left for you but to be gathered up. Because you ain't nothing but briars and thorns and to be burned. Listen, he says, but it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of Yahuwah, thy Elohim, observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee. You're going to be cursed in the city and the field. Yeah, life is going to be tedious. For the ungodly. It's going to be tedious, right? And especially those who have tasted. Especially to those who are the people of Yahuwah. Because we had a covenant with him. Heathens didn't have a covenant with him. We had a covenant with him. Especially us. Because these curses apply to us. It's because we had a covenant. Our ancestors had a covenant. We was Yaakov. Yahuwah has chosen us to keep his Shabbat. He said, listen. Cursed shall thou be in the city and in the field. Cursed shall be the basket of thy store. Cursed fruit of your body, fruit of thy land, and kai, and flocks of thy sheep. Still on the continent. Right? Still on the continent. Right? And you still see the curses on the continent. See the curses here. See the curses on every continent, every country. It's here. Santo Domingo just elected Afro Latina. She's a sister in the lands of her captivity. And she has been elevated to the vice president's potential place. Listen. Cursed shall be the fruit of thy body, fruit of thy ground, increases thy kind, the flocks of thy sheep. Everything that you're going to do is going to be cursed until you're established in his witness. Yeah, but you can see the rumblings, man. You can see the shaking. See the shaking, man. I listened to this anchor on Al Jazeera. He was talking about how she represents the marginalized, because she was an activist, and this Dominican president, if you will, knew that he needed her votes, because you got a large Afro Dominican population. It's marginalized. Have always been marginalized. Listen, doesn't matter where we are, in what continent, we've always been marginalized. Heck, we marginalized here. We can have a job, make money, and apply for a house and not get a loan. We marginalized, right? Right? Somebody of European descent can walk into the same bank and want the same house, and the situation is not as good as ours, but they'll get the house because they're not marginalized. This is not a hate on a nation. This is a reality of that which we are under in this curse. Tedious, arduous, because we aren't godly. We aren't Alua-like. Right? He says, curse shall thou be when thou come in, curse shall thou be when thou goest out. Yahudah shall cause cursings and vexations, rebukes, and in all thou settest thy hands to do until thou be destroyed. You know, Leopold just destroyed us. Went into our country. Went into the continent, amongst the country. Set up his dominion, right? And killed us, right? Martha. Europeans did it here to Native America. The Native Americans, they did it. Herded them into concentration camps. They didn't call them concentration camps then. They called them reservations. A place that was reserved for them, but they were just concentration camps. Yeah. And then, you know, they took their kids to re-educate them. Took them to Canada. Took them to Canada to educate them. What they were doing, they was killing them. Smallpox in them. Right? Right? Because what they wanted to do was to get into this place, and they wanted to begin to whiten everything. That's why the original Native Americans don't look like the Native Americans now, because the Europeans whitened them. They don't mind doing that. They don't mind going in there and raping and planting their seeds. I'm sorry, so y'all go like this, but it's the truth. This is history, right? Right? They herded them in the concentration camps. No, but they called them reservations. They made reservations for them to be over here. Right. They took us in Spain and Portugal and put us in ghettos. Yeah. The Hebrews that were in Spain and Portugal was reserved to the ghettos, and they had to stay in the ghettos, and if they were outside those ghettos at a certain part of time of night, they could be killed. Ghettos. Yeah. Right? See, you don't understand history. See, ghettos is a term that followed us. We were called Negroes in Spain and Portugal. That's Spanish for black, negro, right? Negroes. So when they was pulling us Negroes, right, out of Spain and Portugal and putting us on slave ships, they were putting Yahudim on slave ships, Negroes. And then when they found a place to put them, they called them ghettos. Ain't nothing new under the sun. All because we didn't obey. Now listen. I can go on and go on about the curses, but it's a reflection of what occurs in the life of the ungodly, right? He says, for the ungodly says, reason with themselves. They don't come up with their own wisdom, right? Self-talk. And this self-talk is their wisdom, right? He said, but it's not right. It's just normal. They reason, but it's not right. He says, our life is short and tedious, right? Right? Your life on this eretz, right, is not eternal until you pass from death to life, but you're always eternal, right? Right? you ain't gonna never stop, right? If you're in righteousness, you really ain't gonna never stop. If you dead, tedious, right? Yeah, you gonna die because it's appointed a man wants to die. But death is not an end all. See, because, Hasatan, self-talk, right, in the minds of the ungodly, because they reason with themselves. They're like, okay, we ain't got a long time to live, right? What we do is tedious, arduous. He said, and in the death of a man, there's no remedy, right? There's no rectifying it once you're dead. There's no remedy to death. There's no way to rectify, the short tediousness that leads to death, right? He says, neither was there any man known to have returned from the grave. No, right. There was nobody that was ever returned from the grave. Because we know that once we gone, it's over. We don't know nobody that returned from the grave. But there was a lion of the tribe of Yahudah. Now, when he wrote this, there was no. But the lion of the tribe of Yahudah, he conquered death. He took the keys of death and hell. Right? He was raised by the power of Yahuwah's Ruach. Right? He was raised. He has demonstrated, right, his resurrected presence. On 40 accounts, he was seen of the apostles at least on 40 different occasions. And he was seen by over 500 men and women. Seen 500, right? Shaul said of which a small portion of them have passed, but the remainder remains. They see Yahushua die. They seen him in the grave. They seen him raised up, appear, disappear. See, guys, that's our hope. Our hope is attached to Yahushua Mashiach. Our hope is attached to the resurrection of the dead. Shaul said, if there be no resurrection of dead, man, we are most men miserable. Because if all we have is what we see, it's the same thing as what Shlomo saying the ungodly say. We're miserable. It's tedious, it's arduous. Shaul said, I might as well go ahead and drink and eat. Right? But Hamashiach is risen. Right? We have evidence because we've received the witness of it in our hearts. We've received the Ruach HaKodesh, which has made us alive. Yahuwah is guaranteed. Right? We have it in our belly, rivers of living water. This is what we have. We are established in this. Right? We have this treasure. Oh, because he's risen. See, now, you have to understand, you got to move past the awakening to the quickening. You have to move past, I am a Hebrew, to I am a son of Yahuwah, Elua, because I've received the witness of Yahushua HaMashiach, beloved. Now we the sons of Yahuwah, because we received the witness. Does not yet appear what we shall be, but we know that when he shall appear, we shall be like him, for we shall see him as he is. We know that we have been quickened, who were once dead in our trespasses and sins, where in times past we walked according to the course of this world, according to the lust of the flesh, and all of that, and we're by nature children of wrath. But Elul, who is rich in mercy, wherewith he loved us, when we were yet dead in our sins, he made us alive. He quickened us together with Hamashiach. He said, listen, death of a man, there is no remedy. Neither was there any man known to have returned from the grave. Right. He's right. 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 Because Hasatan had dominion over death and hell. You weren't getting up. You couldn't get up. You didn't have our authority to get up. He says, we are born at all adventure, and we shall be hereafter as though we had never been. See, we are born into a life that is full of adventure, right? It's full of activity and things and hustling and bustling, and there's so much going on, right? Right? He says, and we shall be hereafter as though we had never been. No remembrance of you. Right? That's the ungodly thought. But that was all through Shlomo's thought process. When he was in Ecclesiasticus. Vanity is vanity. Saith the preacher, all is vanity. Yeah. It's because the Ruach HaKodesh fleed him. The Ruach HaKodesh of discipline left him. All right, so he says, for we are born at all adventure, and we shall be hereafter as though we had never been, right? For the breath of our nostrils is as smoke, and a little spark in the moving of our hearts. See, look, we got nothing to look forward to, right? This is the ungodly. We don't have nothing to look forward to, right? Yeah, we got a little breath in us. We pull it in, right? Right? It's like smoke. Smoke is an irritation to the nostrils, right? Right? For the breath of our nostrils is as smoke. Yeah, smoke it irritates the nostrils, right? He says, so literally our breath, it's irritation to us, right? And a little spark in the moving of our heart. All we got is just a little spark, right? In moving of our hearts. He said, listen, which being extinguished, right, our body shall be turned to ash, right? And our spirit shall vanish as a soft air. Right? This is man without hope. See, and only real hope that one has is in the witness of Yahushua Mashiach's Ruach HaKodesh. Right? Because even Shlomo recognized that he needed Yahuwah's wisdom, Yahuwah's knowledge. He knew he needed Yahuwah's anointing in order to lead the people. Right? He knew with Yahuwah there was favor, eternal life. He understood the Torah. He got away from Torah day and night. But when he had Torah and meditated on Torah, he knew what was required. He knew what was required. He says, and our name shall be gotten in time. Yeah. The name of the ungodly will. Right? But the righteous, listen, we receive righteousness and new names. We'll never forget our name. Yahushua will never forget Yaakov Yahudah Gaal. Yahuwah will never forget Yaakov Yahudah Gaal. Right? The righteous. Right? He says, listen, and our name shall be forgotten in time. Yeah. The ungodly, right? And no man shall have our works and remember. Ain't nobody gonna remember what we do, right? He said, our life shall pass away as a trace of a cloud. Clouds are here and they're gone, right? Right? And shall disappear as a mist that is driven away with the beams of the sun. The sun's gonna dry up, vaporize the mist, right? And overcome with the heat thereof. Right? Right? Now, You got to understand this ungodly self-talk, this reasoning, this earthly central wisdom, this perception of knowledge of things, right? Right? It has nothing to do with a righteous outcome. Nothing to do with a righteous outcome, right? Because for us, death is not an end all. For us, we're the sons of Yahudah right now. For us, we've received this Ruach, this gift, right? We have a promise of being blessed in the city and blessed in the field. Listen, we have a promise that our baskets and our cupboards and our store will be taken care of. Yahudah has reserved prepared a place for us. He has prepared a place for us in the presence of our enemies. He says, for our time is a very shadow that passed away, right? And after our end, there is no returning. This is an unregenerate, ungodly idea of life. This has nothing to do with the wisdom of Yahudah, right? It's not the wisdom of Yahudah. It's not the knowledge of Yahudah. This is the knowledge of the ungodly. Excuse me. This is the God. This is the self-talk, right? The conviction, the convincing of oneself, right? His own wisdom. Every man seems to be right in his own eyes, right? With his own understanding, with his own wisdom, how he has perceived it after his self-talk with Hasatan or Hasatan's emissaries or whoever he has convinced himself in this idea of understanding, right? He said, listen. He said, for our time is very short that passes away, and after our end there is no returning. Not me and the witness. Yahudah said, look, some of us will remain and will be changed. Some of us who are going to die are going to be raised. And who died in the witness, having received the promise, having endured to the end. Having endured to the end. That end could be death, or that end could be the end in which Yahudah says, okay, Yahudah says enough, go get them. And he started gathering us and changing us. You know, man, they want what Yahudah is going to give to us, what he's given to us in measure. So they're structuring and restructuring and attempting to change their DNA. Right? DNA. Right? They're trying to, even in television and in motion satanic pictures, to make you at ease with and convince you that it's going to be a good thing to alter your DNA. You know, it's going to be a good thing. You know, I was watching a comedy. My wife likes this. She likes that comic. I don't know her name. She's the only way I can describe her. She's this large white lady with, I think she got blonde hair, red hair. I don't know. Anyway, she's funny. She has some funniness about her. And this other sister, right? And the sister's on this quest to complete her parents' mission to change and alter DNA to create superheroes to combat, right, these evil nemesis that have supernatural powers, right? Change DNA, right? See what they're doing is they get you comfortable with the idea of, you know what, we can alter you and change your DNA, and you can be a superhero. Right? Be a superhero. What they want is what the Ruach HaKodesh gives us, right? When we need it, as we need it, right? 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 They want that. But see, it's not established in righteousness. It's ungodly. Yahudah can choose to alter your DNA with the Ruach HaKodesh because that's what he chooses to do. But you can't make a choice to alter somebody's genetic DNA without Yahuwah's, what Yahudah has made. Can't do that. Can't do that. No, you ain't gonna have that. No. Right? So that's what they're doing. They're trying to create these superheroes. That's why they got you all looking at these superheroes, Marvel comics, and they got all kinds of Marvel heroes now. They got now the ones that they showing are more dark and sinister heroes, but they got the Marvel comic heroes, but they got the dark, sinister ones you're starting to see now. And then they got the comic ones, like these two big women, Thunder or something. Anyway, it's ridiculous, but it's trying to make you comfortable with the idea of altering your DNA. Oh yeah, altering your DNA. He says, listen, come on, therefore, let us enjoy the good things that are present. Let's eat, drink, and be merry. Because it don't matter anyway. We gonna die and we ain't gonna come back. Ain't nobody's come back before. There's no consequences to what we're going to do. There's no consequences to what we're doing. Come on, let's go. Let's do this. Let's go ahead and do this. He says, come on, let us enjoy good things. Let us enjoy good things that are present. And let us speedily use the creatures like as in youth. Let us use the creatures. Let's use things for us, for our benefit, to do what's going to bring us pleasure. We don't care about them. We care about us. Right? He says, let us fill ourselves with costly wine and ointment. Right? Let's fill ourselves, get drunk. Let's get drunk and smell good. Get drunk and smell good. Let's put some of these nice spices on us, right? He says, and let no flower of the spring pass us by. Let us get out here and experience every good flower. Let not one spring flower pass us by. He said, let us crown ourselves with rosebuds before they are withered. Crown our heads with rosebuds. Sounds like feminine. But, and lately, right? I know some of you ain't gonna like this, but I don't care. Boy, look. Therefore, some pornonia down our throats. Strong's 4202. I think it's 4202. Strong's G 4202. Pornonia. They forcing it down our throats. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Gave it a whole month dedicated to it. See, they gave you a month, Back History Month, but they did that only because they knew they was going to eventually want to expand on that civil rights. Now the expanded civil rights has trumped your civil rights. Yeah, because now they get more than you have ever had. But you got to understand that, you are under the curse. Yeah. They're under the curse. That's the way it is. You got to get redeemed from the curse. through Yahushua Mashiach's witness. He said, listen, and let us flower, let no flower of the spring pass us by. Let us crown ourselves with rosebuds before they wither. He said, let none of us go without his part of our voluptuousness. Let us get what we want. Our voluptuousness. Man, I wish I had that in the blue letter. Let me do this. Let's see if I can get it. Yeah, voluptuous. Voluptuous or voluptuousness, right? Curvaceous is an adjective. Curvaceous, sexually attractive, right? So what he's really saying is, right? What he's really saying is, right? He says, let us crown ourselves with rosebuds. Let none of us go without his part of sexual attractiveness, without his pleasure seeking, right? See, because voluptuous means curvaceous, shapely, full-figured, well-formed, right? But, right, it also means proportioned. It means seductive. Synonyms. Seductive. Lush. It's sensuous, he says. It says relating to or characterized by sensual pleasure. Sensual pleasure. He said, listen, let none of us go without sensual pleasure. Let us indulge ourselves in porneia. Right? Right? Let us fornicate. Let us commit homosexuality. Let us commit lesbianism. Let us commit sexual intercourse with children. Let us commit sexual intercourse with animals. Let us commit sexual intercourse, right? Okay, so hold up. So, because I feel that Ruach, I feel that spirit coming forward to try to buffet me. I sense that Ruach. Okay, so we can get it. Strong's 4202G. Fornication is this illicit sexual intercourse, right? Adultery, fornication. Strong's blue letter G4202 Greek. The word is
Strong's G 4202. Porneia.
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 Porneia is, according to the Blue Letter Bible, Strong's 4202, it is illicit sexual intercourse. Now, in the Wisdom of Shlomo, he says, the wicked say, let none of us go without his part of voluptuousness. And we understand that voluptuousness is pleasure loving or pleasure seeking. Sexual pleasure loving and pleasure seeking, right? And we understand that this pleasure loving is illicit sexual intercourse, porneia, because it is sexual intercourse. Sexual pleasure, sexual intercourse, right? But porneia is different because it has things under it, right? Which is adultery, fornication, homosexuality, lesbianism, intercourse with animals, intercourse with close relatives, sexual intercourse with a divorced man or woman, right? Right? Porneia. Now, the ungodly has said that, we might as well, because we just going to die, and we might as well live for pleasure. Right? We live for pleasure. Right? Let none of us go without voluptuousness. Right? Let us explore our sexuality. Let us explore our porneia. Let us explore our fornication, our homosexuality, our lesbianism. Let us explore sexual relationship with animals. Let us explore close sexual relationship with relatives, with children, right? Let us explore sexual relationships with whoremongers, with little boys and little girls. The ungodly. Right? This is what the ungodly. Now, these people don't have the wisdom of Yahudah. They don't have the knowledge, Ruach of knowledge of Yahudah. Right? And because they don't, they said, let us leave tokens of our joy in every place. Let us put our seed everywhere. Right? Let us leave something behind. Right? He says, for this is our portion. This is what we've been dealt. This is what we have. We don't have a life after the grave. All we have is what we have in the here and now. We can't waste time. We got to go about enjoying this life. Walking around with rosebuds on our heads. Exploring our sexuality. And it's okay. We can leave tokens of our joyfulness in every place. For this is our portion and our lot. Man of Yahudah, we stopping there. Understand the wisdom of Solomon. This is the understanding that the wicked have. Live for the day, because tomorrow's not promised. They'll take that and say that's the scriptures. You need to live for the day because tomorrow's not promised to you. If living for the day means serving Yahudah in the spirit, the Ruach of holiness, in the Ruach HaKodesh, oh yeah, I'm with you all together. But if you mean go ahead and celebrate in this wickedness, the way these wicked people do, no, that's not it. Man of Yahudah, we're going to stop there. We're going to pick up at the 10th verse of the 2nd chapter of the wisdom of Shlomo. Yahuwah, I give you praise for this, your word, your Basor, your Torah of truth. I pray that your word has gone forth and that it will not return void. You declared that it wouldn't. Now, Yahuwah, I'm praying that it would make alive those who hear it and receive it. Yahuwah, I'm praying that they would be made anew. Yahuwah, I'm praying the Ruach of wisdom and revelation. be manifested in them. I'm praying, Yahuwah, I'm praying. In the name of Yahushua HaMashiach, I'm praying, Yahuwah, I'm praying. Yahuwah, I pray that the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in thy sight. Yahuwah, my strength and my redeemer, I'm praying, Yahuwah. I thank you. Man of Yah, woman of Yah, called to greatness. Woman of Yahuwah, beautifully and wonderfully made. Listen, today Yahuwah has favored you. I say go forth in the witness of Yahuwah and the Ruach HaKodesh and be strengthened. Be strengthened. With that, I say shalom, shalom, shalom. Be blessed.
Torah Guardian, speaking the absolute truth. Torah Nation.